Hello everyone, I hope you guys are well. Today I am doing a video on my modification of this oracle card deck, Denise Lynn's Sacred Traveler oracle cards. It comes with a nice book, and so this is what the cards look like before I modified them. I hope you can see them. So they have a nice border, they have a title on top, and they have something else on the bottom. Another, like something more descriptive of the card, description. Yeah, there's a name, and then there's like something else about the card. So they have, so the book has an image of the card, which is great. It's in black and white, and has a title and a little something else that tells you about the card, and then you have this nice description here, and the book is a nice size. And I love Denise Lynn. I love her decks, and I find them all to be very useful and intuitive, and I would recommend you check out all of her decks. These are the backs. I mean, of course there was more. There was, I think, more there's a beautiful, the backs on these are gorgeous. There's this design, and then there was a little bit more going on, I think, on the, I'm not sure. And I wish I had a copy of that. I took photos, but I don't know where those photos are. Anyway, these are the images. So it had a little bit more on the top, a little on the bottom, and just a small border on the sides. So the card was about the size of the box because it fit the box. The cards fit the box, so it's about that big, the original size of these cards. So I decided to trim the whole border off and just leave the image, because I work with the images more than I did with the titles, unlike her other cards where I do both. They're all intuitive, her cards, but for some reason this oracle card deck, the images speak to me a little different than sometimes the titles show. So sometimes when I'm reading cards for other people, a lot of times I don't say the title, whereas her other cards I do, or I say it and then I have to say, that's not what I'm getting with this reading, you know, and then, or they ask me, what does that say? And then they go into what does that say? So it kind of like, I just want to work with the image, and that's why I chose to modify this oracle card deck. But I do think about getting another copy with the titles, because I do feel like there is also a need for that too. Like, I have had the cards, read the cards, and I did enjoy the titles and some of them, but most of the time I use the image, which I kind of like to have those options when it comes to readings, to say, okay, do I want to work with this or that, and just feel out what I think I'm going to need that time, because I do sometimes feel like sometimes you just get a feeling, you know, if you guys do this, sometimes just intuitively are drawn to a deck before you do a reading that you didn't take out for the last reading, and then you wind up using that deck, and you wind up realizing why or for who you needed it for. So so I think in this case it's nice to have both copies, but I do, if I have to have one, I like to work with the image more than the titles for this particular deck. So this is the backs, and I think there was more design with the other before I trimmed it on the border and the back. I think there was a little bit more going on around the border. So I just want you to know that if this matters to you, when I trimmed it, the bottoms get a little bit cut off. So the image on the bottom here is a little bit cut off, but for me, it's not a big deal. I still think it's beautiful, and I love that the images just stand out. Like, this is such a gorgeous card, and I was so surprised at how intuitive this card deck is, really, because the colors are so soft, and it really surprised me, this deck, how intuitive it is. And it's given me great readings, very clear readings, and accurate readings, and I can use this as a theme. And also, if you have a big spread of cards, you understand that it's nice to have a small size. So if I'm just working with the images and I trim the border, it just fits nice in the readings. I can use them as a theme. I can use them just for a reading. I really love these. I love all of her decks. And I recommend you check them out if I haven't said that already. So what did I use? Oh, I also edged these in this pink so they don't come with pink borders, of course. And I trimmed it and I edged it. So I will show you what I used for that. So what I used was the scissor, and I do recommend if you use a scissor, I like to trim my decks with the scissor. I recommend you using a longer scissor. They have them, and I've been meaning to order one. Because what happens is when you're cutting, then you run out of length on the scissor and you have to move the scissor. So that gets a little tricky on cutting, making a straight edge, you know, when you have to slide the scissor up. So what I find helps is for this particular deck, I cut it with the image facing me so that I can cut around the image. And I get all of it. That's how I did it. And when I cut the cards, I put a little pressure against the card when I use the scissor, a little pressure, and I go slow so I can control the scissor. And so if you have a steady hand, you can use a scissor. And for the corner rounder, I used this Catamaru Pro, and it has 3 sizes. I got this on Amazon, and I used the large. So I believe it's small, medium, and large. Yes, small, medium, and large. And it says it here. There's S, M, and L. And I'll show you. So the small is this size. The medium is this. And the large is this. And I chose the large because I like the square. It looks more square. It has more of a squarish look to it. And I like that for this deck. They shuffle well. And it didn't come 100% straight, but I'm okay with that. I'm surprised by that I'm okay with it. I kind of like that it has my energy in there, that I cut each card myself. But I just want you to know that it's not 100% straight, but some of these cards that are sticking up more than the others are because they are turned over. Because when you shuffle them, because they're small, they may flip around. You see that? They may flip around so that's the only thing to consider if that's a big deal for you guys. So I can shuffle them. I can even like shuffle like this. I try not to bend these, but they are flexible. They are a little bit flexible. They're not very bendy, but they are flexible. And I mostly shuffle this way for this deck anyway, sorry. And let's see, the markers that I used. Creatology markers. These are washable, water-based markers. These are actually scented. So this is, the color I use is pink rose, and it smells like roses, which is kind of nice. And this is what it looks like. I may do a updated video with better lighting, because right now the room that I record in is, it's a little too cold to record in there right now. So these are the backs, and that's the color. So I think that goes nice. This is the marker, what it looks like. And so what I did to edge this was I held the back towards me, so I'm not, like, in case I accidentally, the marker slides off, I'm not hitting the image, or I got the backer facing me. But they're so small that I didn't find that to happen. So I go 1, 2, 3, nice and slow, and then I go 1, 2, 3 I do a little bit more on the corner. So I go one time, another time back, 2, 3, and then I go 1 back and forth, 2 back and forth, and 3 back and forth. So the corners get a little more coverage, because I find that when you don't do that, I wind up doing them over again. So it's all like, you know, you see how it goes. It depends on the card stack, but with this deck, I found that that's what worked. The color didn't bleed, and I always wipe with my finger or a tissue the ends when I'm done with one card. Like, so when I do it, then I just go like this, make sure it doesn't bleed, and it didn't even get on my fingers or anything. So Of course, always test it out. Make sure, you know, that there's no, because every marker could be different and every, you know, card stack can be different. So, and I don't find that it really has a border. Like you can't see the color even on the light colors unless you tilt it, unless you tilt the card. Trying to look for a lighter card so you can see that. Yeah, see, like you don't see the pink, like it didn't bleed onto the front. So, but if you tilt it, you can see the pink. So these are the cards, and they are just really beautiful, and they read really well. Like this card can mean so many things. It can mean a new journey. It can mean coming out of your shell, you know, coming out of the darkness, coming out of the hiding. It can mean walk the path, you know, good things are coming. You know, it can mean so many things. This also, it can mean wishing things or finding the beautiful in your situation, or connecting with the earth, you know, knowing who you are, you know, connecting with your true self. Wishes coming true. It could be your light. You spread your light. You are part of the universe. Spreading your, like, this could be so many ways you can read this and use this. And just with the images alone, like, look how gorgeous these cards are. Really so beautiful. And I really love this deck. Very intuitive. It's been helpful and clear and accurate for readings for me. And very happy with the way it turned out, modified. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, this is Denise Lynn's Sacred Traveler modification video. I will do more, and I may do an updated one because I know the lighting is not so great. But thank you for hanging out and watching. If you like, please subscribe, and feel free to share a comment. I love to hear from you guys, and I will see you soon. Take care.